Hello, everyone. Happy Friday to everyone. How are you all doing today? Hope you all had a good week. Let's see if you can hear me okay. Please give me a number one in the chats. That way I know that I'm coming in loud and clear. Let's see who's in the house today. Let me go up just a little bit, huh? All right. So we have Yarn Prepper. How you doing, Yarn Prepper? Good to see you. Hope you had a good week. Steve, Jason Rangel, how you doing? JT is in the house as always. Hello, JT. How you doing, Richard? Richard says digital currency by January 2023. Before that, I see something that will preclude and cancel the fall election. Said that all along. Wow. Well, we'll have to see. We do live in interesting times, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, JD? Good to see you. Lisa, Yesenia, how you doing, Yesenia? Good to see you. Paula, Tonette, hello. Say hello to the hubby. Lady Easton, how you doing? Copernicus, hello. Bonnie, hello, Bonnie. How are you? Jan Penland, how are you? All of our moderators are here for today. Thank you for showing up, ladies. Angie is not going to be here today or Sunday, I think. She has a family function that she's attending. London, UK girl, hello. Sandra Johnson. How you doing, Sean? Good to see you, my friend. Mark Troost, how are you? Let's see. Caribbean House is in the house. How you doing, Caribbean House? Good to see you. How you doing, Steve? Carey? How you doing, Billy Bob? Good to see you, my friend. Jeff Kozix, how you doing? Paula Schaefer, hello. Jeannie Brown. Gary Bulldog Prepper is here. How you doing? Good to see you. Raymond Hamlin, hello. Sarai Rose, how you doing, Sarai? Sharon, hello. Red BNL, how are you? Pam T, good to see you. Gas in North Carolina is $4.13. Wow, it is up to $4.89 a gallon here. I actually took a picture of a gas station, the price of gas yesterday morning after I dropped Little Miss Alaska Prepper off to school. It was $3.79, and I thought I'd post it, but then when I took Little Miss Alaska Prepper to school this morning, $3.89. So it went up a dime overnight. So we're at almost $5. I almost wanted to hit $5 already so that I can say, yep, I remember paying $5 for gas, in 10 years when we're paying 17. How you doing, Vicky? Alex the Gamer, hello. Sandra Johnson, hello, welcome. Alien Prepper is here. Miko's Farm is here. How you doing? Good to see you. Blessings to you as well. Suzanne, hello. South Paint Survival is here. Let's see. Vicky Sotter Quest. How you doing? No need to get a locking gas cap. All thieves need is a screwdriver and a bucket. That is true. A screwdriver and a bucket will do the job. And maybe a little hammer too, so they can hammer that in easier instead of trying to stab it. But absolutely. You just got to be careful now, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be careful whenever you travel. If you're going to be stopping somewhere, try to make sure it's a well-lit area. And although I really don't like the surveillance state, maybe stop somewhere where there are CCTV cameras. That way, if something does happen, maybe you can. It'll help you out with law enforcement and your insurance. It is what it is. My wife was telling me today that she was reading some articles, and she got one that I haven't heard of, but I thought that I'd pass it along, and this is just as good a time. That way I don't forget. She said that she was reading an article where a lady noticed that when she got in her vehicle, her phone picked up a Bluetooth signal that wasn't hers. And she was wondering what it was because it was riding along with her. So she pulled over to the side of the road in a populated area, of course. Obviously she's pretty experienced. She must have a lot of wisdom. She pulled over and she's looking all over her car. And finally, she opened the door to the gas cap. And inside the door to her gas cap was a iPhone. I think they're called pad trackers or something like that. But one of those little iPhone chips that you can actually track whatever, it's stuck to or inside of. So I'm assuming from that story that someone had put that in her gas cap to follow her home or to know where she lived. Okay, so be careful, ladies and gentlemen. These times we have to keep our head on a swivel, right? One of the reasons why I hate going to theaters and I hate going to crowded places is because you don't have that much control in those places if something bad happens. So you have to keep your head on a swivel. If you're going to go out shopping or anything like that, try to do it in battle buddy teams, So, for example, let's say that you're a single mom or a single dad, and it's time for you to go out shopping, and you're leaving your children with your significant other or with your grandmother, whatever. Try to see if you can do it with battle buddies. In the military, in the Army at least, we call them battle buddies in groups of 2 or more to make sure, because in numbers there is more safety. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so just be careful. That is one that I've never heard of, so I thought I'd share that with you. I believe that it is time for us to start. Man, you know what? I don't want to say here in Alaska because, man, things have been really good here. All right, thank goodness. They really have. But you just never know. And I do believe that it's time to make sure that you don't forget your EDC at home, that if you have one, that you carry it with you all the time. And, of course, make sure that you are careful. How you doing, Paula Schaefer? Good to see you. Scott, how you doing? Baby Root is in the house. Carrie. Ann Palmer from the great state of Louisiana is in the house, along with Melody Tanish. How you doing, Melody? Casey83, how you doing? Let's see. Sandra Johnson, hello. Heroic Prepper is here. Suzanne Gitz, Pam T. Lori Lua made it. Good to see you, Lori. All right, I'm getting number ones all over the place. Outstanding. Very good. So we're supposed to be getting a pretty good CME Sunday evening. I'm not sure how many of you are subscribed to the Suspicious Observer, but I go ahead and look at his video. He puts out a video every morning, and that's like one of my first go-to videos every morning because he reports space weather. And he said that a CME is headed towards Earth and that it will contact Earth. It's going to hit it broadside, and it's going to be a pretty good size one, and that it's strong enough that it can even cause power outages and electrical fires and things like that. But he did say that it is not a Mad Max CME. He said that it is something that we're going to get more than likely, we're going to get a good array of Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights displays. But he said that there could be some disturbances in communications and that it is strong enough to even cause some small electrical fires. So just be careful and go out on Sunday night, depending on where you live. The more north you live, the probably better chance that you're going to get of seeing some northern lights, but maybe you'll be able to see some. But after following the Suspicious Observer for probably 2 or 3 years now, I think, this is the strongest CME that he's reported since I've been following him. Hello, Linda Bob, South Point Survival. Hello. Hello, Janice. Good to see you. Erica Bear, how are you? McBean is in the house. How you doing, McBean? Good to see you, my friend. Coffee first, then speak. Hello, Sunshine. Cheryl Oliver, how are you? Blessed Child is here. Ashley Anderson, Joyce Terra, Shirley Crum, WC, happy Friday to you. Nancy Perry, Becky Blevins, hello. Jonaida Arias, how are you doing? Let's see who else. Rev 2220, how are you? Bunker Buddy, Survival Vince, welcome. Huggy Bear, hey, hello, Huggy Bear. Your guys' names sometimes make me crack up a little bit. KB, hello, KB. Velo is here. How you doing? Exit C Tall is here as well. Vicinity Prepper, Janny Zoo, Honeybee, how you doing? Granny Prepper, how are you? Prepared Suburbanite, how are you? Pam T, Dow Letty, SC Laddish, how are you? All the way from Kansas. Tony Oliveras, how are you, Tony? Good to see you. Paula Schaefer, hello. Faith, Hope, Love 91, how are you doing? Sarah Boss, hello, all the way from Ohio. Joan Long, Deborah Hines, or Haynes, all the way from Alabama. Bama. Steve C, how you doing? Steve C says, I'm having problem with freezer burn, mostly on my hamburger. I use freezer paper and tape, then put on a Ziploc freezer bag, but not lasting more than 2 to 3 months. What am I doing wrong? Steve, I've found that the best way to preserve your frozen meats, obviously in a freezer, is to use a food saver. All right. I've had meat in a freezer that was 2 years old, that was in a food saver bag, vacuum sealed, and it was perfectly fine. It tasted just fine. It didn't have an off taste, no freezer burn whatsoever. Right now, for those of you that may not be able to afford a a food saver, something that you can do in order to get as much air as possible. Maybe I'll have to demonstrate this on a video one day. The thing is I have a food saver, so I don't need to do this. But something that you can do to get as much air as possible out of that Ziploc bag is, first, I wouldn't use butcher paper, all right, because that's bulky and it allows air gaps in there. What I would do is I would wrap it with plastic wrap, right, with cellophane, I think you call it, or plastic wrap. I would wrap it with plastic wrap. Then I would put it inside the Ziploc bag. Now, this is the key. Go to your sink and fill up your sink with water. Then you take your Ziploc bag and you dip it. You dip the meat in the Ziploc bag, not letting the water go inside, but you dip it until the Ziploc bag, the zipper, is almost touching the water. And then you close it. The pressure of the water going around the meat is going to force the air out of the bag as you close it. All right. I hope that made sense. All right. What I just said. But that is the best way that I know to package meat for the freezer for long term if you don't have a food saver. If you have a food saver, then that's the best way to go, in my opinion. And if you do have a food saver and you're going to put meat away, now this is all my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And I keep saying my opinion because I don't want people to think that I think I know everything, because I don't. But the best way to go with a food saver is before you vacuum seal the meat, is that you put it in the freezer for a little bit. All right, put it in the freezer long enough to where it's really nice and stiff, not completely frozen, but pretty stiff. And what that'll do is that'll keep the blood, whatever blood or liquid is on the meat, it'll keep it from siphoning up the food saver bag as you seal it, as you vacuum seal it with your food saver. Okay, and I hope that helped. How you doing, Snappy? Good to see you. Celeste, how are you doing? Tommy, Richard Lodwick, Ronnie Braun, Patricia Foodie, Practical Foodie. How you doing? Thank God it's Friday indeed. Sacred Shadows, hello. Hillbilly Prepper is here. Jolie Lee, Lomar, Trucker Hersey made it. How you doing, Trucker Hersey? Jacob Tiernan, how you doing? Alexander, how are you? Suzanne, A Hobbit made it. Prepared Mutual Friend. Nuna Beeswax makes it to her. Nuna, this is like your third or fourth live stream in a row. Now, don't ever be going MIA on us like you did last time, Nuna, okay? You had us worried there. Good to see you, Nuna. Happy Friday. LPX, hello. Hello, Ellie. Wendy. Alaska Gwen, how are you doing? We'll be in Fairbanks next week. Very nice. Well, I don't know. Maybe send me an email and see if you have some time free during the time that you're here. Maybe we can meet up for breakfast or lunch or something like that. All right. And I'll check my email. I actually checked my email today. I'm only about 40 emails behind. All right. I said I wasn't going to be dealing a lot with emails, ladies and gentlemen. So if you don't get an email back from me for a while, then please understand. All right. Mama Bear, how are you? 449 in Northern Illinois. Oh, my goodness. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about that today. How you doing, the Prepping Mantis? Good to see you. Off-Grid Countess, Jay Tharp. Coffee First. Let's see. Sean Penrod, how you doing, Sean? Checking in from Northern Illinois. Good afternoon to you, Sean. Good to see you here today. Where are we at? Well, we're at 13 minutes, but I did take a good amount of time to answer that one question, all right? How you doing, Angie Camp? Good to see you. Tip Top Girl is here. YJ, how you doing? I'll tell you what. YJ, I'll tell you what. Let me see. YJ says, I feel like they've already won, and this is the mop-up stage. Our freedoms are gone. All we cling to is the illusion of it, while wokeness programs people from the inside. Wokeness programs people from the inside out. I understand. I understand where you're coming from, YJ, but I've always stood by that. I believe that in the end, that good always prevails over evil, and we cannot lose hope, and we can only continue to do those things that we can do on a personal basis to not allow them to win. And one of the things that I do is I try to get out of the system as much as I can. Right? I try to destroy their fiat currency by preserving my excess wealth in silver and a little bit of gold. I try to destroy their fiat currency by preserving my wealth in a full pantry. I try to preserve my personal sovereignty and my family's sovereignty by having a full pantry and having the things that I need for a long time. That way, if it ever comes down to where you either do this or you don't get that, well, I've already got that. So I'm not going to do that if I don't want to. Right? I think that in the end, good will prevail over evil. So don't get down and don't give up, because that is exactly what they want. Right? Would I say that they are winning? I would say no, because if they were winning, we'd already, be like other countries. Right? Take a look at some other countries right now, and then look at how lucky we are. I'm sorry, just a second. All right, take a look at some other countries. Now, I can only imagine that you are, by your name, I'm guessing that you're from Australia. And if you're not, and you're from the U.S., take a look at the U.S. and compare it to other countries. Compare it to North Korea. Compare it to Venezuela. Compare it to what's the name of Lebanon. Compared to those other countries that are completely destroyed and their people have absolutely zero freedoms. Look at Afghanistan. The people there have gone back to a time and place where they have zero freedom. The only little bit of freedom that they have is that freedom that those that are in charge, which are usually warlords, right, that are in charge, allow them to have. So they either do what they are told to do or they're going to pay the price. At least here in the United States, we still have that Constitution, that piece of paper that our founding fathers were so very wise to write up. And although it gets torn to shreds at every single opportunity that some of these politicians have to tear it to shreds, we still have it. All right, we still have it. So we still have a moral standing that we can stand on and that we can fight on. All right, so there is still hope. All right, do not lose hope, because once you lose hope, you have lost. All right, so don't lose hope. We can have hope, but we also have to take action. All right, we also have to take action in order to make sure that in the end we are the ones that are left standing. Because, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, a crisis is only going to last from A to B. What are we going to have after the crisis? Right? Who are going to be our leaders after the crisis? Who else is here? Keach, how you doing? North of the 52nd is here. How are you? Tennessee girl, hello. Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler's paying $3.99 a gallon in Minnesota. Wow, Sandy Brown is paying $4.89 a gallon, just like we are here. Vivian said your son needs to do his Russian accent. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that video, that payday prep video, all right, with Victor. And the funny thing is that he really was shopping. My wife and I, for those of you that maybe don't remember me telling you here, maybe 1 or 2 live streams ago, my wife and I said, hey, let's go ahead and invite Victor and Brenna over so that they can go shopping in our pantry and get everything they want, everything they need, one time. And I'll tell you what, by the time they were done picking everything out, man, they had a lot of stuff. So guess who's got to go shopping at Costco again? I'll probably be doing that tonight. And you know what I did find out, ladies and gentlemen? I'm in the process of working on that video where I told you that I was going to freeze dry some meatballs and freeze dry some chicken that I got from Costco, and also pressure can some beef that I got from Costco. I did the math, and even though the beef in the can that Costco brought back for a lot more than what they used to charge before, even though I think it's like $19 for a 4-pack, I think it's like $18.98 or something like that. Even at that price, it's still less expensive to buy the canned roast beef from Costco than it is for me to do it myself. Because here a pound of beef is about, well, not about, it's either $7.49 or $7.59 a pound. And the canned meat comes out to less than that, considerably less. So I am still going to pressure can the meat that I got on my last payday prep or the one before then. However, henceforth, I'm going to continue to buy those cans because it makes sense. And for those of you that haven't tried that and do have a Costco near you, it's very good quality beef. I would say it's just as good as the Keystone beef, right? And the price is pricey, but it still comes out to be a little less than if you were to buy it raw and then have to do everything yourself. How you doing, Dale? Good to see you. Old Man River, how you doing? Hello, Colleen. Good to see you. Oh, good. Angela says our gasoline actually dropped down a little bit. That's good. Well, I noticed that here in the last couple of days, the price of crude oil went down from, I think it was like 125 that I saw a hit. And I think today is like 109. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about that here in a minute. I don't see that lasting very long. When I think about prepping, I like to think about the long term, and long term, our energy prices are going to skyrocket. Let's see. Jan says that in Northwest Georgia, she's paying $4.29. Hey, how you doing, single dad prepper? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. How you doing, honeybee? Good to see you as well. Norman Patterson, how are you? Norman Patterson says that a 45 caliber prevents gas theft. Indeed, it does. That's if you have something to put it in. Hey, how you doing, Svein? Good to see you all the way from Norway. Welcome. Miss Blessed, how are you? Oh my goodness, Miss Blessed. 536 at Sam's Club and 586 at Arco. Wow. That is incredible. How you doing, Lisa? Good to see you. Glory to God. How are you? Blessings to you as well. Leon Dyson says, I am from Alaska. Well, welcome, Leon. Very nice to have you on our live stream. How you doing, Gary McCourt? Good to see you. Let me see here. Gary says, it is only going to get much worse. They are running out of generic brands. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about this for a while. And I pretty much told you what I thought was going to go down as far as scarcity and as far as prices. And I hate to say it, but it seems like it's coming to pass. And one of the things that I said about variety is that, well, first of all, I remember telling you all several times that our food shortage that we're going to have, and we're going to have a real food shortage here coming in the future. But the food shortage that we're going to have is going to start economically, meaning that people are going to be priced out of food. And I've done videos on that. And that as it progressively gets worse, that we're going to see brands that maybe had 5 or 6 different brands of one item. Let's say, for example, 5 or 6 different brands of pancakes, that maybe now you'll only see 3 brands of pancakes. The pancakes will still be available, but you're only going to be getting 3 brands. And that's just an example, but that'll start happening with a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen. Another thing that I think will start happening is that we'll see a lot less things that we really don't need to live on the shelf. Why? Because people are going to stop buying all of the things that we don't need to live. Why? Because they're spending so much more money on those essential items like food, energy in the form of gas, oil, propane, whatever it may be, housing. They're spending so much of their income on those things that they need just to survive that they won't have the disposable income to go out there and buy those trinkets that we're used to buying as a consumerist society. I would say that we are mostly. So that's what I see coming, and I see it getting worse. Well, not what I see coming, what I've said in the past, and I think it's already starting to come, and some of it has already passed, meaning that it's already happened. Hey, how you doing, Crazy Backyard Chicken Man? Good to see you. How you doing, Off-Grid Simply Happy Rodriguez? I think that's the longest name I've said. Catherine Bennett, hello. Have a great day. How you doing? How you doing, Gail? Christy Betts? I knew it. Okay, now I can stop, ladies and gentlemen. Now that Salobrena has showed up, I can say hello to Salobrena. How are you doing, Salobrena? One of our OGs. I say Salobrena is a pre-50 subscriber OG. All right, so welcome, Salobrena. It's very good to see you. Let us know how things are going in Spain as far as prices and availability of things. And if you do, please put it all in caps. Hopefully I can catch it. And if I don't catch it, my mods, can you please go ahead and copy and paste it on one of your comments? How you doing, Boj Prepper? Sarita Loves Living, how you doing? All right, I better get on to what we're going to talk about because I'm still way far behind. So if you have any questions or comments that you want to share with the community, ladies and gentlemen, please go ahead and put it all in caps. But give me a few minutes. There's just a few things that I want to go ahead and cover with you. And Let me see. I see a question here on cap, so let me go ahead and grab this. Hello, Stephanie. Have you heard that it's dangerous to add oxygen absorbers when you put flour in mylar bags? I haven't heard that, but the thing is that normally if I see that I think the reason is some people say that it causes botulism. I think. But the way that I operate, Stephanie, and that's why I always say one of my catchphrases is what? Do your own research. The reason that I would challenge that is because, and one of the ways that I operate also is that I see what manufacturers, big manufacturers or producers do with their things, and I've purchased like what do you call it? Like pancake mix in big bags before. They had oxygen absorbers in them, and they were just fine. So what I figure is that if they can get away with it, then why shouldn't I? You know, it's like some people have told me you shouldn't pressure can stuff that has weed in it. But I mean, manufacturers that pressure can products that have weed in them, they do it. So why couldn't I do it when pretty much we're doing the same thing? We're taking some food, putting it inside a container, bringing it up to temperature and pressure for a certain amount of time, and then allowing it to naturally seal itself after the temperature's, been put down on the pressure canner. Why can't I do it? So that's one of those things that you just have to do your research and go with your gut, I would say, unless you find validating data that says, yes, you can do this, right? Or no, you can't do this. And then just use your best judgment to decide on what you're going to do. But thank you for that question or that comment. So, hey, how you doing, Alphonse Jolly? Good to see you. Just happen to see you scrolling by here. I am bringing it all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and cover something that I've talked about in the past, ladies and gentlemen, and that is, where are we headed? Where are we headed from here? Now that we are in the beginning, and I believe this is the beginning. All right, I see another all caps, but I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it right here. That way I don't miss it. I believe we are in the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, of the collapse. All right. Many people could say that we've been collapsing for years. And in a way we have. Our monetary system has been collapsing for years. But I do believe that we're going to have somewhat of a societal collapse, meaning that things are going to get pretty bad, ladies and gentlemen. And that because of the things that happen here between now and like the next 10 years or so, that when we get to that other side, we may end up with a different society than the one that we live in now. And I'm really hoping that that will be a good society, a society where there is justice and the rule of law. And I wanted to share some things with you as far as what I think we're looking at. And these are just a few. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these are just a few of the things. I did not include a lot. There's so much more stuff that I can include in the little slides that I'm going to show you. But these are just a few of those things that we can actually prepare for. All right, we can prepare for these things. Now, one of the things that I think we're going to continuously have problems with is going to be our electrical grid. Right? I think that we're going to continuously have problems with our electrical grid. Our electrical grid is pretty ancient when it comes to our national electrical grids. I believe there's 3 in the lower 48. All right. And I think everyone knows pretty much that Texas has its own electrical grid. And then there's 2 more for the rest of the United States. Obviously, Alaska has its own electrical grid. All right. So we're going to have a lot more problems with our electrical grid. So what you want to start doing now is you want to start prepping for this. You want to start having those things that will help you in the case of a power outage, and that will help you generate electricity. And it doesn't have to be anything really fancy. I think there's my Opus right there. This is actually a really good solar generator. I really like it. And just so you know, I'm not affiliated with them. And I'm telling you that I really like this. I almost want to say that I think this is just as good quality as the Blue Eddy. And that it takes a lot for me to say that I think this is just as good quality as a Blue Eddy. However, I've only had it for a couple of months. So I'm gonna keep using it, and then maybe in a year or maybe this summer, I'll let you know how it's worked out. But I use it pretty often. Right now, as you can see, I've got my air purifier hooked up to it. All right. So, and it's worked very well. I've also used it for a couple of other things. I actually had to use it the other day because I went to put fuel in my in my fuel tank, the one that heats my house, and I have an electric fuel pump that pumps fuel from one of my cisterns, fuel backups, into my actual house tank. And when I went there to hook it up to my electrical cord, the electrical cord was frozen over, right? So I usually leave the electrical cord hanging, but I left it on some snow, and the snow froze in it. So no good, couldn't use it. And I didn't want to break the prongs on the actual plug. So I went ahead and brought it out there, and I used it, no problem. And it was negative. It was negative weather outside when I used it. So it worked really well so far. Pretty happy with it. But we want to start thinking about those things that are essential in our homes, that need electricity. So for example, you have a refrigerator. For some people that may be essential, for some people it may not. For some people it may be essential during certain parts of the year. All right, for some people it may not. For example, in the winter time, if we lost power and it was going to be a long enough power outage where I thought that it was not worth using some energy from my solar generator to power up a refrigerator, or a freezer, I would just take everything, put it in totes, and put it in my deck, right? Because at negative weather, that food's going to be just fine for a very long time. And obviously, you all know that we have pretty long winters here. It's actually still in the negatives here during the nighttime. Right now, it's beautiful outside. You can see the sun coming through the flag, but in the nighttime, I think tonight is supposed to get down to like negative 18 or something like that. But even at 25 degrees, I had no problem taking my food, putting it in a tote, and putting it outside if something like that happened. And try to figure out what things in your house are essential to you now that you have time to figure it out. Write it on a piece of paper. Understand how many watts those appliances or personal items or personal devices take up, and then do a calculation. How long will this solar generator last me before it uses up all the batteries? You can do all of that now. For example, I just know this from actually doing it. All right, I never did the math. I actually just did it, hooked it up to see how long it would last. I know that with my big Blue Eddy, I can run my refrigerator / freezer. I can run that for about, I would say, close to 20 hours straight. If it was a long-term power outage, I wouldn't be running it for 20 hours straight. I would be breaking in maybe every 2 hours or so, and I would be making sure that I didn't open the refrigerator for very long or a lot of times, right? Because that just makes the cold air come out. Another thing that you can do to extend the time that your refrigerator is good, that it can keep cold in, is always have 2 or 3 or 4 or however many you may want frozen 2-liter bottles of water. I think I have 4 2-liter bottles of water that have a little bit of chlorine in them, and I put them in the freezer, and I always keep them in there. So it takes up some valuable space. However, should I ever need it, all I got to do is take those out, put them in my refrigerator on the top shelf, and the cold from those bottles will go down, keeping it cool in there, cool enough to where the things in there won't spoil. Now, that won't last forever, but it will extend the energy that you would have to use off of using a solar generator, right? There's a lot of little things like that you can do now and be prepared for those things, all right? And this is one of those things I believe that we're going to turn into a third world country when it comes to our electrical grid. I mean, I really don't understand how this administration and several states want us to turn into an all-electric car country. There is absolutely no way that our electrical grid can sustain all the electric cars. If we took all of our gasoline cars right now or diesel cars right now and we went all electric, there's no way that it can sustain it. The grid cannot sustain it, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not saying that because I'm a professional engineer. It's just, it makes sense. It's common sense. I mean, in California alone, which is a good place to study with that, they already have problems with their grid. And they don't have all electric vehicles in California. They already have problems. Right? I believe it was last summer that they were asking their residents of California to only charge their electric vehicles at night. But if you want me to put on my tinfoil hat on, if this country has nothing but electric vehicles, ladies and gentlemen, and one central authority controls the grid, then they're going to be able to control where you can and when you can travel. So if you're only allotted so much energy for that day, remember the smart meters that almost everyone has now? I'm sure that those smart meters can probably be turned off or turned on uh, remotely, right? So, like I said, that's just me putting on my tinfoil hat. But that would be a great way to be able to control how much travel you can do. All right. But this is something that we're going to be running into from here into the future. I think that it's going to spread to our entire nation. We're going to have problems with our grids. And hopefully we won't have any of these cyber attacks that attack our grid or anything like that. But without those things happening, I believe we're going to have some serious problems with our grid. Let me see. I still have a whole bunch of other stuff, but let me stop in between so I don't get too far behind. Let me see. Okay, so Bonnie says, saved up enough and got my first solar generator. I got the Duracell. That Duracell solar generator, in my opinion, is a great solar generator. There's a couple of things that I really wish they would improve. I mean, if they improve these things on that solar generator, I mean, it would be awesome. But it's a great solar generator, a great price, in my opinion, especially if you get the ones that are refurbished from Costco for like, what, $300? That's a great deal. So good for you, Bonnie. That's awesome. Let's see. That is correct, King Taric. Oxygen absorbers are not good for sugar. It makes it hard, but still edible. Yes, that is 100% correct. If you take a look at the video that I did where I was showing you all, especially the newcomers, all right, I did that video especially for those of you that are new to prepping, where I showed you all how to prep on the cheap, how to prep rice on the cheap for long term using 2-liter bottles. You will have noticed that on that video, I showed you a juice bottle that I used to store away sugar. And I pointed out on that video that that juice bottle did not have an oxygen absorber. And why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Because I learned that the hard way. I actually have a couple of 2-liter bottles that I put away years ago that I put oxygen absorbers in because I was just starting out in prepping. I did not know any better. And those are hard as a rock. However, you can still use it as sugar. You just have to chip away at it. All right. And you can use it for self-defense as well if it comes down to that. Lisa asks, can the Blue Eddy 800 be used for a small freezer? Will it run for a bit? Well, I'm assuming that you're saying Blue Eddy 800 because it will work up to 800 watts. Okay, so if it will work up to 800 watts, I'm pretty confident that it will. Because I have a very large freezer. It's like a 25 cubic foot freezer, stand-up freezer. And it only runs on about 400, 450 watts. And that's when it's starting up. So when it's starting up, it'll surge up to about 450 watts, and then it'll settle down at about 350 while the compressor is running. And when it's not running, it's using less than 50 continuous watts. So if you're saying that Blue Eddy 800 is 800 continuous watts, then yes, it will. And it depends on how many watt hours of energy it has stored that will determine how long it will run. I've never heard of a Blue Eddy 800. I know that there's a Blue Eddy EB70, and I think it's 700 watt hours. So maybe that's what you're talking about. If you're talking about the EB70, then definitely yes, it'll run a small freezer. Depending on what age. If you have a small freezer that's back from the 50s, then those might be, high wattage. But just take a look at the watts that your freezer uses. Usually it's on a little placard behind the freezer, or it's on a sticker that's attached to the plug. Right, and it'll tell you how many watts. Sometimes it won't tell you watts, but it'll tell you amps. If it tells you amps, then just multiply that times 120, and that will convert that number into watts. So, for example, let's say that it says it runs on 4 amps. Then all you have to do is multiply 4 times 120, which means that it runs on 480 watts. All right. I hope I answered that question. Let's see, what else do we have coming down the pipe? Let's go ahead and check it out. I have something else here. Let me show it to you. Let's see. Like that. Okay. All right, so I actually did a video about this because this was a very good article that pretty much articulated what we've been talking about for probably more than a year now here. Now, Von Gray Ayers, I don't know how to pronounce it, says that dark years are here. Now, this person, Von, I'm going to call him Von, all right? He is a mathematician. I do believe that his discipline is in mathematics. And he's created a software similar to Martin Armstrong software, all right, that pretty much predicts cycles, all right, because everything is a cycle, ladies and gentlemen. Everything in nature, everything in life is a cycle in one way or another, okay? And he said that for about the next 10 years to one generation, so for the next 10 years to 25 years, ladies and gentlemen, that we will be living in dark times. Dark times are here, and that's how long it's going to last. And I stand by that, because if you read the book, let me see, what is it? The Fourth Turning. Right now, we are in the middle of the fourth turning, which is the season of crisis, the season of winter. If you've heard the expression here in the last 6 months to a year or so, dark winter, that was being used a lot, right? Dark winter. I believe we are in a dark winter, but not a dark winter as a seasonal winter, meaning 1 year. But we are in the part of the fourth turning that is the winter time, and that is the fourth turning, the turning of crises. So this gentleman here, I believe I saw an interview with him and Greg Hunter over on Rumble, and it was a great interview. Every time he does an interview, he has great information, and I'll tell you what, his previous interviews, if you go back a year, 6 months, man, they're right on point. And what he says is coming down the pipe is that we are going to have a season of war. We are entering into that war cycle. We're actually already in it. And what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? All right, what's going on? We're also entering into a cycle, the economic cycle, the macroeconomic cycle, which means that we're going to have a downturn that's going to last for years. Many people don't understand this, or they just don't know. Not that they don't understand, but they just don't know. But the Great Depression, the market crash of 1929, I believe it was, the market crash from 1929, that wasn't over in a year. It took about, I think it took about 3 years or so for the market to bottom. And then it took a full generation for the market to recover. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, like I said, we are on a train that is headed towards a wall. However, I believe that we are going in slow motion, but eventually we will hit that wall. And the problem is that when we hit that wall, it's going to stop all at once. All right, it's going to stop all at once, and everything is going to come to pass very quickly. There will be a lot of suffering in the world. You know, I don't know if maybe I should have saved this video for another time, because it's not a very happy video, but I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we need to know this. We need to know these things. Why? Because there is hope. Why? Because we can get prepared. We can get prepared to overcome any challenges that is in front of us. But if we don't know, or at least we don't think of what probabilities there are out there, then how are we going to prepare? Right? These things that are happening, they are probabilities that they will get worse. I mean, something could happen where everything will just be great. Something could happen where we wake up tomorrow and, hey, you know, we have a new government. It's a great government. It's, you know, we're going to follow the rule of law. You know, taxes have been eradicated. We're going to be free. You never know, right? You just never know. But what is the probability of that happening? Probably slim to none, right? So we have to prepare for those things that we think are probable, right? And if you don't think that it's probable that we are going to go into a 10-year downturn, then that's fine. You have to prepare how you feel it's right for you to prepare, right? That's what it's all about. You have to prepare how you feel is right for you and your family, not how I think it's right for you and your family. Okay, wait a minute here. Sunset, how you doing, Sunset? Sunset says, hey, Happy Mac is in the house. How you doing, Happy Mac? Sunset says, AP, Grayman wants your YouTube button. He's a silver addict. Don't worry, Grayman will have his own YouTube button one day. I'm sure he will, a lot sooner than he thinks, I'm sure. No, ladies and gentlemen, the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club is not a dating club, okay? It is not a dating club. Actually, on the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club, what you get is I'm going to I started last Sunday, but the first Sunday of every month, I'm going to have a Q&A with anyone that wants to join in from the Ladies and Gentlemen and Patreon, so that we can cover any questions or chat about whatever you all want to chat about for half an hour to an hour. The one that we did last Sunday after the live stream was great. We had a pretty good turnout, had a pretty good time chatting away. answering a couple of questions was great. And on top of that, you also get I released videos a little earlier for the club members, but and about every 3 to 4 months we do a nice giveaway. The last giveaway we did was a kit, a nutrient survival kit. All right, to a Patreon member, to a member, ladies and gentlemen club member, and I also did one for the community as well. So that's what that's about. But it's not a dating club. If you're listening to Mr. Tom, haven't seen Mr. Tom in a bit, but I know he's all right. If you're listening to Mr. Tom saying that it was a dating club, then man, he sure fooled you. Yeah, imagine that. Yes, Colorado Foothills. I'm guessing that's what it is. Some people want it to happen. I've talked to people saying, "Man, I just wish it would crash right now." I'm like, "No." I'm like, let it take its time. It gives us more time to prepare. All right, it gives us more time to prepare. One day it will. How you doing, Carolyn? Good to see you. Grayman is in the house. There he is. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Okay, let me see. What is it that I wanted to share with you else? Okay, stop. Let's go ahead and grab one more slide that I have here. I think I have a few more. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to talk to you about a little bit of inflation, huh? Have you all been noticing some inflation going on? Huh? I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. I really hope that the naysayers from past years woke up before just now. Now, if you just woke up to the fact that we are going to be paying a lot more, not only in dollars, but in labor, in hours, in order to live the same standard of living that we've been used to living. All right. If you never woke up to that fact, after listening for a couple of years, people like myself and several other channels, and several other economists, people that actually do it for a living, then I'm sure that this is probably beginning to be a rude awakening to you. Right. However, if you just woke up to it, good news. Because like our last commenter said that, boy, 10 more years would be something. Yeah, that's good news for you. You still have time to prepare. Are things more expensive? Absolutely, they are. But I stand by what I've always said. In the long term, things will continue to get expensive more and more and more. I believe the inflation rate that they came out with for the month of February was 7.9%. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to you that inflation is 7.9%? This means good things for people that own assets. For example, I own my home. And it's not really a good thing for me because I'm going to stay in my home forever. All right. I don't plan on leaving my house unless I become a millionaire for some reason. I mean, like multi-millionaire, and I can hire Atlas bunkers to build me a 10,000 square foot bunker, 100 miles north of here, which obviously that's not going to happen because there's no lottery here in Alaska. But man, did I oh yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, look at this. Majority of Americans make lifestyle changes as gas prices hit record highs. And I found out today as well that almost 2/3 of Americans, live paycheck to paycheck. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, that is just a recipe for disaster. When I told you all that when the government comes out with a CBDC, I think the prelude to a CBDC coming out, and for those of you that don't know what a CBDC is a centrally banked digital currency. I said before that when our government comes out with that, whenever the next big crisis is, it's going to have to take a financial crisis. So whenever the next big financial crisis is, and again, I hope I'm wrong, but they're going to crash the system. And a lot of people are going to be in pain. And the government's going to come out and say, hey, I've got this little thing called a CBDC. And we can issue every American one. Actually, I do believe that every American already has an account at the Federal Reserve. We can issue you your account. All you have to do is download it on your smartphone, and there will be money in there for you to use it. When that happens, I've stated that Americans, for the majority, are going to beg for it. They're going to say, yes, I want to do that. I want to do it because it's going to stop the pain. But delayed gratification is a beautiful thing. And that's one thing that we've lost in our culture is delayed gratification, right? It's the use of delayed gratification. People nowadays want it now. But people are going to be in so much pain, they're going to be struggling so much that they're not going to give themselves a choice. They're going to say, yes, give it to me, Federal Reserve. Give me that CBDC. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that when that happens, there's going to be 10 years of total slavery. It's going to take about a year to 2 years once we get issued that CBDC before they start getting draconian on us, before they start letting out their tyrannical tendencies, more so than they have in the present and in the future. And the reason I say 2 years is because they have to get rid of cash. They have to get rid of paper money. So that CBDC is going to come out. People are going to beg for it and say, thank you very much for stopping the pain. And they're going to make things good. Things are going to be good for a year or two. And in that time frame, they're going to get rid of cash little by little. And then they're going to convince the people, we really don't need cash. Look at how much it costs to make this cash and this and that. Whatever reasons they come up with, they'll come up with. Once they get rid of cash and all we have is a CBDC, just take a look at what happened in Canada. The government took the liberty of saying that people were things that they weren't and canceling or closing their checking and their banking accounts. Well, now with the Federal Reserve, which is not a federal institution, has no reserves and was never voted into the position that they hold, that institution will have the power to demonetize your life, to erase you, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're looking at with a CBDC. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and this is part of it, right? This is part of it. This is where the pain starts, right? Most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Now, what happens when we have that next major financial crisis? The last one almost broke us. Then this health crisis almost finished the job. Well, when that CBDC comes out, ladies and gentlemen, and they get rid of cash, our liberties will be completely gone. And I would say it's going to take about 8 to 10 years before the people finally realize en masse that they've been duped and they get angry enough to do something about it. It's just human nature, ladies and gentlemen. It has nothing to do with anyone in particular. It's just human nature. So that's what we have to look forward to so far. I think I've got a couple other slides that you'll enjoy as well. And you know what, XZ? You know, that's something that I really don't want to talk about here, but you know what? There is a lot of validity to what you're saying. There is a lot of validity to what you're saying. And one of the reasons why I think there's a lot of validity is because if you go to Deagle.com, their statistics are no longer there. Why did they take those statistics out? Because that 70% has a lot to do with a couple of key items, of key things that, man, I'll tell you what, it's very scary to think that there is validity to that 70%. And I've gotten some insider emails also that really are worrisome, to tell you the truth. You know, it's not something that I'll cover here. Maybe I'll do a video about that and put it up on Rumble, because definitely if I started to talk about that right now, our live stream will be over pretty much right away. But yeah, that we'll see what happens. I mean, I've already got a lot of personal stories myself about family and people I know and things like that, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I just thank God for free will, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God for free will, and thank goodness that we can do what we want to do. We just have to live with the consequences. And there's a lot of people that are going to have to live with the consequences of their decisions. And it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm all about freedom. How you doing, Matthew? Good to see you. Let's see. Hey, how you doing, Waldo? Good to see you, Waldo. How you doing, Manuel? Carmen, how are you? Trent, how you doing? Pam T. Let's see. Rockin' Robin asks, AP, best way to store lamp oil, especially during summer heat waves. I just store my lamp oil in its original container. Kerosene that I bought a whole bunch of kerosene a while back. I just leave them in the original containers and I put them under shade. So like all of that kerosene that I bought, I put under a deck. I built a small deck inside of my tent so that I can put things up there that I want to keep off the ground. And I took all of my kerosene containers and I put them under there. Now they're the plastic ones, so they'll be fine. They won't rust or anything like that. But that's where I put them in the summertime. Not only are they under a deck, but they're under a deck that's inside of a big tent, so they have pretty good coverage. Yeah, I would say just make sure that you put them somewhere where it's safe, somewhere where they won't have the possibility of being punctured or anything like that, and just put them in the shade. I mean, that's what I did. Let's see. We do have something else here. Let's see. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Here goes AP with his. I don't ever trust the government, and they're always lying to us. Well, I'm going to show you some proof right now, ladies and gentlemen, that this Ukraine thing is the new boogeyman. I've said it previously. I've said it probably within the last week and a half or two, that the Ukraine thing is the new boogeyman. They are going to milk this for everything it's worth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Reserve was handed over a huge gift by the president of Russia invading Ukraine. It was a huge gift to the Federal Reserve because now it allows them to not raise interest rates as aggressively as they said they were going to. And it allows them to turn on that spigot as soon as we hit some kind of market volatility, as soon as we see that stock market drop by 10 or 20%, the Fed is going to come back and say, oh, we have to print. We have to print more money. That's the only thing we're going to do. They're going to bail out the banks, just like they always have. And if we're lucky, they'll bail out the banks instead of having the bank bail-ins. I say have the bank bail-ins, all right? Because it's those accounts with $250,000 or more that get bailed in. But I say bail them in. And why do I say that? I don't say that because I want anyone's wealth confiscated. But the reason I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is because we need a shock. The people need a shock. And those people that are sitting up there with, hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever in the bank, those are the people that need a shock. Why? Because those are the people that buy government officials. They're the ones that buy the politicians. We need a shock to get us towards the right way. And I just wanted to share this with you. See if you all remember this. The Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned there could be another year of high inflation amid uncertainty caused by the invasion of Ukraine. So now she is blaming inflation on what's going on in Ukraine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one problem that I have with that. All right, one problem that I have with that. Not only is this the same person that said while she was the Fed chair, but she was the chairman of the Federal Reserve prior to Jerome Powell. So we've got that rotating door, where you go from private to government to private to government, right? Not only did she say that, she didn't feel there was going to be another financial crisis in her entire lifetime. And where are we right now? Okay. She said that because they were printing so much money that she wanted to give confidence to the people that they were doing it for the people, when in fact, printing money does nothing but steal your wealth and your labor, right? So here she's saying that, and this is recent. Do I have the date on this? This is like a day old. Let me see. Yeah, this is like a day old. This heading right here, or this article. Okay, and now I want to show you something else. This is the other problem that I have with that article, with that statement. Oh, let's see. Is this it right here? I think this is it. No, that's not it. I'm sorry. I have to find it. Give me a second, please. Maybe this is it. Okay, let's see. All right, just a second. Let me find it. Let's get this one out of here. This one can go. This one can go. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here it is. Okay, so Miss Yellen just a day or two ago, I think it was yesterday, said that inflation is going to soar because of the Ukraine crisis. Now, this is dated November 14th of 2021, before Russia invaded Ukraine. And Mrs. Yellen said, blame inflation on this health crisis, says the secretary, the Treasury Secretary. So here, 3 months ago, ladies and gentlemen, it was all because of the health crisis, because we've had high inflation for the last year, year and a half now. So 3 months ago, it had everything to do with this health crisis. But now they've found their new boogeyman. Now they've found what is, instead of making the pharmaceutical companies super wealthy, they've found their new boogeyman that will now shift your labor, all right, your freedoms, that will shift that energy over to the military industrial complex. So why do I say things aren't going to get any better for a good long time? Because, ladies and gentlemen, they're not until we have a new system. And it takes a very long time in a cycle for a new system to fail. And I mean, for an old system to fail, and then for a new system to arise. It takes a long time. That's why it always happens. That's why these things throughout history always happen. We're not the first country to go through what we're going through. We won't be the last. Why is that? Because it takes so long for it to happen that the generations that come after it, once they die off, there's no one left to actually tell the people of the new generation, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. And those people that do hear the message, a lot of them don't believe it. Why? Because they have what is called recency bias. Recency bias is, hey, it's never happened in my lifetime or in any near history, so it's probably not going to happen. Right? It's different from normalcy bias. Normalcy bias says that people think that it'll never happen because it's never happened to them. Well, recency bias is, yeah, I know it's happened before, but it's never happened in my lifetime, so it can't happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's why things are going to continue to get worse. Little by little, they'll continue to get worse. They'll continue to come out with reasons of why inflation next month is going to come in at 8%, and the month after that is going to come a little bit higher. And then when inflation comes down by a tenth of a percent or 0.2%, they'll celebrate like it's something really great, when in fact your labor is still being stolen right from under you. I just hope that everyone would understand how terrible and how detrimental it is to inflate the money supply for the person that works for a living. All right, here's the last one that I'm going to share with you today. Martin Armstrong, all right, this gentleman, in my opinion, is pretty close to being a genius. He developed a software program. I forget the name. JT knows the name of it. I forget the name of it. But this person developed a software program that the government wanted. He didn't want to give it to them. He spent like 7 or 8 years in jail because on contempt. He wasn't even charged for anything. Now, if you look him up, you'll find, if you Google him or Wikipedia him, you'll find a smear campaign on him saying that he stole a whole bunch of money from a whole bunch of people. Ladies and gentlemen, these were articles that were written by people that wanted what he had, what he made, what he developed. Why did they want it? Because his software can pretty much predict the fall of governments, can pretty much predict the crash of markets, and his software is very accurate. And here, Martin Armstrong says, he warns decade-long economic decline. All right, and this was back in 2020. All right, so in my opinion, we're going to be going all the way into 2032. Because that is towards the end of this fourth turning. But that's my opinion. But trust me, this gentleman here, man, he's a heck of a lot smarter than I ever will be. So we're looking at a good long time of things not getting better. And that's okay. I don't want to discourage anyone, and I don't want anyone to feel, like there's nothing to live for. There's a lot to live for, ladies and gentlemen. We have our families to live for. And all we can do is the best that we can do. We need to take those little moments during the day, take those little moments during our lives to make sure that we know what really matters in our life, right? And then go from there. But being prepared is the best way to preserve the life of those people that you love, That is why I'm so adamant in being as prepared as I possibly can. I'm gonna go do a Costco haul after this live stream. All right, my wife and my daughter are having a night over for my daughter's school. They're having a stay over at a camp, and I'm gonna go to Costco and I'm going to load up on all of those things that Victor went shopping for my pantry. All right, because I wasn't able to load up on everything because they took a lot of stuff, which I was happy to see them take all that stuff. And they were like, "Oh my God, I don't know if we can fit all this in the car." But that is why I'm so adamant, ladies and gentlemen, about preparing. And I do believe, and you've heard me say before, and for those of you that haven't heard me say this, it's important that you understand that the better prepared you are, the more sovereignty that you can preserve, the more of your own sovereignty that you can preserve, the more free will that you have. Right now, let me go ahead and bring this down. Oh, yes, I love Jesus. JT is awesome. I love that guy. If any of you are not subscribed to JP's channel, he is, in my opinion, a comedian, but who is also an activist for freedom. All right. That's the best that I can describe him. Really, really very funny guy. All right. But he puts out a very important message. All right. Very important message. All right. Let me bring it down here so I can catch up because I'm really far behind. Yes, I am. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I forgot to say thank you very much for joining in today on this Friday. All right. I hope that you all had a great week. AP, why the chlorine in the 2-liter bottles? Yes, I do believe that chlorine, now you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I do believe that chlorine allows it to stay a little bit more frozen for longer. Okay. Let's see. I'm bringing it down. What time is it? Okay, we're going to end it here in a few minutes, but I'm still going to bring it down and make sure. You know what? And make sure that I at least catch the last questions. And I know I have a few super chats. I'm going to make sure that I catch those. Rooster, I have no idea. I think I figured it out, but I'd have to look at the can again in order to give you a good answer. I think that the date on those cans is comprised of like 5 numbers. I believe that the date is broken up into a 2-digit year and a 3-digit day. And the 3-digit day is in Julian code. So right, so there's a Julian calendar, which means that the calendar runs one number for every day of the year. So let's say, for example, that on the 31st of January, it's day 31 on that Julian calendar. And on the 1st of February, it's day 32. Right, that's how a Julian calendar works. So the very last day of the year, December 31st, if it was not a leap year, it would be day number 365. I think that's how they have it on there because I was looking at my older cans the other day, and I noticed it's got a 5-day code on there, and I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet on exactly what it was, but I think that's how it is. And the reason I say that is because I did used to work in the dairy industry, and you get different formats on how they put their days on there. Oh, I mean, let's see. Roman, I believe they do. I believe they have. I believe that Russia is very technically advanced. You know, I believe they do. Will they? I don't know. I mean, that's something that we have to prepare for in case they do. But I believe they do. I believe that if they do something like that, it would be an act of war. And I don't think they want to do that because I think we have enough people up in Washington and the Pentagon that are maybe goofy enough up here to actually do something to retaliate that would actually cause us all a lot of sorrow. Not just us, but the entire world. Let's see. Laura asked, just bought a small freezer, I guess, at Costco. Not frost free. It has frost ice building up. And am I doing anything wrong? How do I know the temp is okay? It has a turn dial control. Well, what's going to build up that frost that you see building up, Laura, that's because there's moisture in the air, right? So the more that you open that freezer, the more moisture you're going to let in, the more frost that's going to build up. All right. So you may want to keep that freezer closed as much as you can. And if you live in a high humid area, that's probably going to happen pretty often, right? If anyone has a better answer than I just gave Laura, please leave it in all caps. Hopefully I can catch it, or she can. All right, but if it's not a frost-free freezer, I don't believe it's that you're doing anything wrong. It's that there's a lot of humidity in the air where you live, and or that freezer is being opened and closed a lot, letting warm air in, which makes it condensate in there. All right, let's see. Bring it down. I'm like literally like 30 minutes behind. So those of you that left the super chat, I apologize that I'm just now getting into it. Let's see. The Survival Buzz. How you doing, Survival Buzz? Finally made a live stream. Hey, thank you very much and welcome. Welcome. This is your first live stream. Awesome. Thank you very much for that, by the way. Fired for Truth. How you doing? Good to see you. Let me see. I'm not sure, Sunset. I know that he just posted a video, I think today or yesterday, on his backup channel. Last I heard, CFP is working with Google and YouTube, and they did confirm that his channel was hacked. And I believe they're trying to work with him to see if they can restore his channel to him. I really do hope that they can. All right. I do hope that they can. One thing that I have to say about that, ladies and gentlemen, this is not about CFP or Joseph in particular. It's that a lot of times when something like this happens to other YouTubers and stuff like that, I've heard some people say, well, I didn't like that guy anyways or anything like that. Now, like I said, nothing to do with CFP. But what we have to understand is this, is that we're all in this together, right? We all have different styles. Some people cannot stand me saying, ladies and gentlemen, 27 times in one video. And I understand that. I really do. And I actually feel sorry for them that they have to sit through all those ladies and gentlemen. All right. Because I've tried to not say it as much, but this is not a job to me. I love doing this. I really enjoy doing this. And I'm not going to change who I am, because once I do that, you'll see that things change and not for the better. Right. So we all are different, but we do have to support each other because we all have the same message to put out there. Right? We all have the same message to put out there, and that is that we need to be prepared for whatever. Right? I actually had a great encounter today. I had to bring my wife's truck in to get serviced at my local mechanic here, Right Choice Auto. For any of you that live in Fairbanks, Right Choice Auto, and the owner there, his name is James. Really, really good guy. Always treats me great and always provides outstanding service, right? He's usually pretty busy, but if you're looking for an honest mechanic, that's not a dealership mechanic, who charges a fair rate, go to Right Choice Auto. And no, I'm not sponsored by them. I just think that it's awesome that we have a local mechanic here that I can actually trust. Like literally, when I go there to get something fixed, I don't even get a quote, because I know that he's going to give me the best price that I can possibly get, and he's going to get the job done right. So I don't even get a quote when I bring something in to get fixed. I just bring it in and say, hey, this needs to be fixed. And then he takes care of it. And then he gives me the bill when I go pick up the vehicle. Anyways, when I was there today, I had a talk. I probably spent about half an hour talking to him and talking to one of his workers. His name is Alex, I believe, and talking to them about things that are going out, about inflation, about, having, some backup preps, as far as food and stuff like that. And I asked Alex, his worker that works there, his employee, I said, how much food do you have in your home? And he said, about 5 or 6 days. And then I gave him a scenario, and he was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. So, I love doing that kind of stuff. And it brings me hope that people, for the most part, are pretty receptive of the message. All right. And don't look at me like I'm a weirdo. Magic Prepper is in the house. What's that, Matt? Good to see you, brother. I hope you're still here to hear me say hello to you, because I'm about 22 minutes behind. Okay, let's bring it on down a little more. Oh, my goodness. I'm so far behind, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Let's see, who is that? How you doing, Uncle Charlie? Good to see you. Well, kids, see, what I would say is that if you have all of the preps that you need to sustain life, and then you still have some excess wealth to go out there and get gas masks and iodine pills and all that kind of stuff, then by all means, if it would make you feel better to have those things, then I would say absolutely. Personally, and this is part of the talk that I had with James today from Right Choice Auto. Personally, and I know a lot of people would disagree with me, right? And that's fine. That's okay. Personally, I don't think that we're going to have a nuclear, event. Not only do I not think, obviously, I hope we don't, and I'm sure everyone does. I don't think we're going to have a nuclear war, right? Because although we have a lot of crazies running countries and governments, I don't think they're that crazy. But I could be 100% wrong. But I don't think that we're going to have one. But I still have iodine tablets. I still have gas masks. I have all that stuff. I just don't think that that's what it's going to come down to. Could it? What are the probabilities? Well, the probabilities are a lot higher right now than what they were 2 years ago or even a month and a half ago. So it could happen. How you doing, Mario? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Let's see. How you doing, Jim Hale? Good to see you. Blessings to you as well. Let's see. Deanna, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Deanna. You're very kind. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm bringing it down. Let's see. Thank you very much, Red BN. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Brenda Bodwin is in the house. How you doing, Brenda? I missed you. I must not have seen you. I had to give myself a raise, so my monetary spending value was equal to that of what it was 2 years ago. Really? Isn't that something, Brenda? That is crazy. So what you're saying is that you have to give yourself a raise just so that you can continue to buy the same things you bought 2 years ago with the same labor that you expended 2 years ago. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, I myself have noticed in my personal life that things are getting a lot more expensive. There's been a couple of times that I go to Costco and I gasp, like, oh my goodness, look at that. And one of those times was that elbow macaroni pasta that comes in the 10-pound bags that I used to buy them for $10 a pound. And even at $1 a pound, you could say they're a little bit expensive because you can find pasta on sale anywhere for 50 cents, 60 cents a pound. But I really like that pasta because it's all organic and it comes from Italy and it's very good quality. So I didn't mind paying $1 a pound for it, especially to put away for long term. And then when I seen that it was $12.59 a pound, a bag now, that's a 26% increase from one trip to the next. 26% increase on one item. Kelly, Victor's accent is Russian. Oh goodness. Let me see. Oh, I thought I seen A9. How you doing, A9? Good to see you. Hello, Judy. Hello, Porky. Teresa, hello. Blessings to you as well. Thank you, Teresa. I'll take all the blessings that you want to give me, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, Jim Hale? Good to see you. Oh, this is funny. Jim Hale says, I respect AP because he is not nuts. That's almost making me cry. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Okay, the Survival Gardening Channel with David the Good. Thank you. I'm gonna say David. Thank you very much, David. Canned beans and spam money. Thank you, man. I'll tell you what. Those are two of my favorite things right there. Canned beans and spam. And I would say that spam is above the canned beans. I love spam. And for those of you that did not see me review, I forget the name of the brand of that mush, but it's supposed to be breakfast sausage in a can. If you didn't see me review that, go check out that review because I'll tell you what, in the beginning of that video, you probably heard it in my voice. I thought that was disgusting, but it actually tasted really good when I cooked all of the water out of it. When I cooked all of the water out of that, man, it tasted like crispy spam. That's what it tasted like to me. So yeah, very good. Let's see. Ann Palmer says, I will soon have a new family member, a daughter that got married in December, expecting in August. That is awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting closer for me. Here in less than 3 months, I think it's about 3 months we're looking at. We should be celebrating the birth of our new addition. AP is going to be a granddad for any of those of you that may not know by now. So, and Brenna is filling out just right. I mean, she looks very healthy. Everything is going really well with her. The baby is giving her a lot of hard times because he likes to kick now, and sometimes he doesn't like the stuff that she eats. But I made sure that they went home with a lot of saltine crackers the other day when they came home, when they came over here shopping. Hey, how you doing, Jeff? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Let me see. I think I saw, no. Okay. Oh, here we go. Brenda has some advice for the person that was asking about the freezer. Check the rubber gasket seal on that freezer. If there are any gaps, it will frost up faster to yep because it's letting air in there. Put a thin weather strip around the seal, and that will help. And keep it closed as much as you can. Yep. I didn't think to recommend that you check the seal. Well, President Putin has already stated that making a no-fly zone over Ukraine would be considered an act of war. And from what I understand, the NATO, I think the head of NATO, I don't know what his name is, but the head of NATO said, no, we're not doing that. And that's a good thing because we don't want to escalate things any more than what they are. Now, from what I understand, there are some bad things going on over there. It's war, right? There, it is an actual war. A lot of people, are finding their demise every single day. A lot of soldiers and civilians as well. So, well, Carmen, you know what? If you can, I would. I did. I did a payday prep here a while back. I don't know, a few months back, where I showed you that I got some iodine pills, and that was before any of this started happening. But I wanted to make sure that I had some in stock, just to have them, right? So if you can, sure. If you can find them, if you go to Canadian Prepper's channel, he actually had a doctor on there telling you what you can use as alternatives if you cannot find iodine pills, right? So you might want to go check that out. It's very, very good video, very informative. Let's see. Yes, Alex. Alex says iodine only protects your thyroid. That's correct. If you want to protect your other parts of the body, I believe, what is it? Pectin. Pectin will actually take stuff out of your digestive system and excrete it out. All right. However, that's as much as I know about it. Okay. That is as much as I know about it. But yeah, we're all preppers, and I hope that everyone here likes jams and jellies. So you should all have some pectin in the house. How you doing, Victor Beasley? Good to see you. All right, let's bring it down. How far behind am I? Okay, not that bad. How you doing, Saria? Good to see you. Bought my chicks today, starting with only 7. Bought the whites. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the year of the chicken coop. It has to get done this year. It has to get done. So we're definitely going to do the chicken coop this year. That's going to be like priority for me. AP, it was Walmart brand. Walmart brand luncheon meat is great. The Great Value brand, that is the original Spam recipe. I actually did a lot of research on that for a video that I did a long time ago. The Walmart brand, the Great Value brand luncheon meat, that is the original Spam recipe. Okay. And the Spam recipe that we have now, the Spam that you buy now. So if you go to a store right now and buy a can of Spam, that recipe was from the original was changed to the recipe that they have now. I think it was back in the late 90s or early 2000s. And the main thing that they did to it was is they added starch, potato starch. They added modified potato starch to it. And what that did was is if you open up a can of Great Value brand luncheon meat, which is the original Spam recipe, and you open up a can of Spam, the one that they make today, you will notice that the luncheon meat from Great Value from Walmart, it has the little jelly around it, right? Well, what modified cornstarch does is it keeps that moisture within the product, and then it doesn't really have that jelly around it. And you'll notice that the new Spams don't have that. That's from the modified cornstarch. And I think that the Great Value brand, in my opinion, it kind of like tasted better than the new Spam. You know, it kind of like tasted better. I think it fried up a lot better. It fries up crispier because the modified cornstarch is not holding any of the sugars inside, and it fries up crispier. So I like it. But then again, you know, it's Spam, so I like Spam no matter what brand it is, as long as it's like the Spam recipe. Okay, what do we have? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to bring it all the way down and wish you all a great weekend. On Sunday, we will have. Now, you know what? For those of you that have been with me for a while, you all know how senile I get. Right? Someone asked me a question in a comment last Sunday. They're like, "I thought you were going to have your live stream at 9 o'clock in the morning," and I was like, "You know what? I forgot all about it, and I had it at noon." Let me see, Chris Queen. I got my iodine tablets from Amazon. They don't have them now, though. I got them from Amazon. All right. So I am going to try to stick to my 9 a.m. this Sunday. All right. 9 a.m. this Sunday, Alaska time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And if for some reason I end up doing it at noon, it will be posted. Okay. I will post it tomorrow with the time. That way you'll have plenty of notice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say hello to Karalevsky, Borzoi. All right, hello to you. Okay, let's see. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. We have a superstar. This is the third superstar, I think. Only in my dreams is here. How you doing, Anna? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a little bit. I hope you're doing well. I caught one of your videos a couple of weeks ago. I think you were on a live stream. But good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Say hello to the hubby and the kids. I hope you're all doing well. Akasha Stone, how are you? Good to see you. I don't think so. My McIntyre. I know that you can make pectin with apples, but I think that any kind of pectin would work. Either that, or also I've heard that what is it? Not Jello, but like the stuff that makes Jello gooey, that makes it harden up. That stuff also I heard works, but I just stick with the stuff that I know has been recommended by like professionals, like iodine tabs. They've been recommended by a professional, so I go with it. Let's see, Margarita. Hello, Margarita says I mailed a package to you today for you and the family. Oh, well, thank you very much, Margarita. And you know what? That reminds me that someone made me some flags or some drapes, curtains for a couple of my windows here. And unfortunately, one of them is going to be for this window because sometimes I have a lot of light coming in from here. And one of them is going to be for the window on my door. So when I get those set up, I'm going to take pictures of them and show them to you. That way the person that sent them to me can see it, right? Because you're not really going to see a lot of it during my live streams. All right, so thank you very much to you. You know who you are. We've actually emailed back and forth. Thank you so much for that. I did receive it, and I do have it, okay? So thank you for that. Let me see. Law of the minimum. There you go. Thanks so much for your thank you. I raise quail and chickens. If I had to choose, I would only do quail. Way easier. From what I understand, quail are way easier, and there's a pretty quick turnaround on the protein that you can get from them, and they do multiply a little bit quicker than chickens do. Right? So yeah, quails. I want to do rabbits. First, I want to do chickens because I love eggs, and everyone in my family loves eggs. and one chicken can produce, I believe, is around 90 to 100,000 calories worth of eggs in 1 year. One chicken can produce, right? So if you have 10 chickens, that's a million calories worth of eggs in 1 year, right? But rabbits produce a lot of protein as well. So that's another thing that I want to get into, when the time is right. All right, yes, gelatin. Gelatin, that's right, Karen. Gelatin it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, thank you very much for joining in today. I hope you all had a great week. And listen, let's do our weekly safety, what do you call it? Our weekly safety, whatever. We used to do this in the military all the time. Gray man, what is it? Safety brief. Let's do our weekly safety brief. Make sure that you're safe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, keep your head on a swivel. All right. If you're going to go shopping, take a buddy with you. All right. Or take your husband or your wife with you. All right. And just keep your head on a swivel and make sure that you know what's going on around you. All right. Go ahead and have a great time if you want to drink, but don't drink and drive. If you want to drink and drive, just make sure that you have a designated driver. Nothing wrong with having a drink now or done, but you don't want to ruin your life just for having a little bit of fun for a few minutes and then have the rest of your life ruin someone else's life, right? So be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen, because we do want to see you all back on Sunday, right? So on Sunday, maybe we'll just have an open forum where we'll chit chat back and forth for that live stream instead of me bringing you all of the gloom and doom of the things that are going to happen that are not good for the next 10 years, right? Having said that, have a great evening and great weekend. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. If you are new, put I am new in all caps, and we will shout you out during the chats, during the outro, and then everyone can say hello to you, right? Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I'm out. Let me go ahead and do the outro. Have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. God bless every one of you. Uh-oh, it's not working. Well, I don't think my outro is working, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's a bummer. Apologies for that. Well, I'm going to have to take a couple of minutes to shout you all out then, because for some reason, the outro is not working. So welcome, Tom. Welcome. Tamikia. Welcome. There you go. Australian woman says multivitamins contain potassium iodide. I believe that a serving for a child is 35 milligrams. Oh, no, 65 milligrams, and one for an adult is 130 milligrams. Two times as much. All right, let's see. All right. Oh, it is working? Okay, I'm sorry. It wasn't working on my side. Let me go ahead and do it.